much, but it's, you know, we keep it clean and it's a good place for the dogs. And I'm here, you know. When I worked in Pepperell, except the pound thing, I went twice a day. It was never okay. If there was a blizzard, I couldn't get in there. People stole dogs out of my pound and broke the cage open and took them. It was awful. To me, you got to be there. You got to, you know. And I know if they build a facility, it'll be shifts, but at night they'll be at home. But if a dog gets surgery, I can bring it home, take care of it. I do my grooming here. If a dog gets a bath. Like I said, we adopted this weekend. We adopted 5 out this weekend. We were loaded here.
Wow.
But 5 left this weekend. 3 cats and 2 dogs. I don't charge for my adoptions. I just make sure they're medically set to go, and people have expense when they take them. So I don't just bring them back if they don't work out. We got there. She was stuck under the car. The guy kept driving. She was under the influence. She was a mess. So they had to cut her neck open after a month. And but she's, I mean, come on out, Daisy, for a minute. I mean, look how good she healed. You don't even know. Come here, Joyce. Show me a nice wound here, how nice it's healing. She was split right around. And he had to take layers like a burn victim. But she's doing really good. She's spayed and she's had all the shots and she's ready to go to the home. This one is 20. He's been here for 14 years. I went to the house one day though. The guy was moving and he was a stray. The guy had been feeding. So I was putting him down and I grabbed it. So I said, can I have him? He said, yeah. I might, but I had just died of age. But he's in the house during the day. Like he was just out, but he wanted to get old and cold. I wanted him to go out for a while because it's going to be bad the next few days. 2 painted turtles that came 2 years ago. They were on my porch when I came home with no water, malnourished. So I've had them for 2 years, and we're going to fence the pond. We have 2 ponds in the front.
They're beautiful.
So we're going to fence one of them and hopefully put them out because they take off. Now it's not broken. We can leave. I have a box turtle that was in someone's backpack for shoplifting. He had him locked in his backpack. So we charge him with animal cruelty, and then the turtle's staying with me. And this is Brad. He's very friendly. Yeah, he was living in a backpack. And Officer McNamara found him in the backpack, so I named him Brad. And he said it was okay.
So is he the box turtle?
This is the box turtle.
Do they have like beaks like snapping turtles?
Yep. They don't bite though. And they have a shell that retracts. He can go way back almost to his tail. And that retracts. I didn't know that till the vet showed me.
Wow.
Yep. And this guy, I mean, he's heavy. I have a girl and a boy who are hoping to put in the pond. I got to fence it first. They're in a big 100-gallon tank upstairs. But I want to put him out where it's nice in the summer. And him, I'm going to build him a habitat out here so he can be out too. He's the cutest, this one. He's so friendly. It's my Brad. Oh, and this bunny, I can open that.
Oh.
This is Bun Bunny. He's the best Cadbury bunny. I see those commercials on TV of some husband. He's cuter than them. He was in someone's yard 2.5 years ago.
Oh.
And they brought him here because they were afraid he was going to get killed. And he's been here ever since.
Oh.
I have a hutch for him outside for the summer.
Yeah.
But we keep him inside in the winter.
Oh, nice.
He's a sweetheart.
So you've totally retrofitted your house to for animals.
You know, people complain sometimes, but they don't come here and see what we have to do.
Right.
I've been cleaning since 9 o'clock this morning, you know.
I bet.
And it's not pristine, but it's clean. I make sure it's clean for everybody. Everybody gets clean bedding every day. Everybody gets fresh food. Oh, the black cat is it's here because the lady had some problems and helping her out, the Board of Health and stuff. So the cat's gonna stay with me so she can get her back when she goes back to her house.
Oh, okay.
So she's staying with me for a few weeks until I get her straightened out. She had some medical problems and... Those are my dogs outside. I raise bulldogs.
They're gorgeous.
Those are mine outside. And like I said, I just, I know what's going on here all the time. That's important to me. Every door opens into a kennel so that I don't have to ever worry about them getting loose. All my doors in the house open into some kind of fence. So I don't have to worry. We were going to put him to sleep when we got him there, but then he was purring. Dr. Sulin said, "Oh my God, Kathy." I said, "Yeah, let's try."
Yeah.
But for 2 months, I was putting him in the cold tub every day, and he was all blistered, and he had no hair. For a year and a half, he had no hair. They scalded him. We got the call, but we never could prove who did it. They told us that they saw somebody do it in the neighborhood. It was on Buttonwood Place. And I went there, and he was laying on top of the trash barrel, and he was burned. I went right away when they called, and he was a mess. I thought he was dead when I got there. He looked terrible. 41 years of it, I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
It just seems to amaze me all the time, because you don't have to have them. You know, they're a luxury. They're not something you have to have. But some people don't get that. Since 1977. That's when I started as dog officer. But I had animals, my own animals before that. Yeah, they try to change the title a little bit. It was like 25 years ago, probably. When we started with animal control school and all that, they tried to change the title a little bit. The only thing with that is people think you're responsible for everything.
Well,
Which I kind of am, but I'm not. Like, I don't have a permit for wildlife, but it's an emergency, we have to handle it.
Primarily dogs. She does deal with cats. She can deal with wild animals in under certain circumstances. Mostly, or I shouldn't say mostly, but it's always in the case where a wild animal presents a threat to public safety. Then either the animal control officer or the police can take some kind of action.
You know, if it's on someone's property and it's domestic, then people have to call somebody, but basically the police and I end up going. And now I work under the police for the past couple of years, and it's been a blessing. Because they're very good with animals, and they're very good to me. And they help. It's a big help. I was alone before.
The animal control officer works in conjunction with the police. There are occasions where she'll go out and handle a call by herself, but in many other occasions where she feels that she needs, help with the call, then she'll notify the police department, and a patrol officer will go out to assist her.
3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, all by myself. He looked back, I'm thinking, wow, but didn't matter then, but I'm getting older. So knowing they got my back is good, And for information, if I have a question on the law, I can call or go in, talk to the chief and or lieutenant or any of the guys, and they tell me what they think. Sometimes I'm borderline on what I should do.
Well, when a wild animal is deemed to be a threat to public safety, then by statute we're allowed to move it. We're not really supposed to displace any animals or move them or relocate, I guess as the statute actually says, relocate, but unless it's a public safety problem. We do try to notify the Mass Wildlife whenever that happens, to see if they have somebody that can respond. Oftentimes, of course, they don't have a lot of help either, and sometimes they can't, so we'll handle a call.
We've had owls here, like I said, the turtles. We had to deal with Tampa Barra one time that was loose from Marshall Farm when they had this petting zoo up there. He got loose and we had to catch him. We caught him.
What is it called?
Tampa Barra. It looks like a guinea pig on steroids. It weighs about 50 pounds, but it looks like a guinea pig. It's scary. But they're friendly. But he got loose. And we had horses. I've had to walk. My husband's walked 5 miles with a horse to bring it here, put it in our barn, because we have horses. They're all old now, all living their life out, but they're all my brood mares from when I showed. I still show, but they're all my Morgans. They're all in their 30s, late 30s, late 20s. So we have 4 left. We lost one last month. Her hip broke and she fell, like an old person. My husband was feeding and he heard a crash. She was eating and all of a sudden we went in and we got the vet right out and he said her hip had broken and she fell. So we had to put her down. It was sad, but it happens to old people too. Never thought it would happen to a horse, but it did. So you just never know. Every day's an experience. Yeah, I grew up in the country in Westminster. When my parents worked, they left at 5:30 in the morning and came home at 5 at night. We were in school. My father didn't, bless him, he loved animals, but he didn't think it was fair. We had a beautiful place out in the country, but he didn't feel it was fair for any dog or cat or any horse or anything to be alone all the time. So we couldn't have animals. And I was always bringing something home. And then he'd call the dog officer and they'd come get it and I'd cry. And he always said to me, when you're grown up and you have your own place, you can do anything you want. And he used to tell people before he died, he's here every day, he used to come help me. And he'd say, I should have never told her that. Once I got my own, And we also have a bird that was taken in. I took in a bird. It's a conure. And Fruit Loop. It's the color of the Fruit Loop cereal. And like I said, I got the 2 turtles. But we've had like horses, donkeys. We've chased horses at 3 in the morning, out the main road. Trying to think what else. Over the years. Oh, raccoons, porcupines, you name it. We've had to handle it. You've got to be careful. We have restraint poles, to restrain them. We have 4-foot, 6-foot, 8-foot poles, depending on what it is. The only thing I won't handle is a snake because I'm petrified of them. And I can't get over it. I've tried everything and I can't. Even at school, I couldn't. So I don't do snakes. The chief in Lunenburg is very good with snakes. He's always helped me. The former chief of police was too. And my husband's okay with them. I can't. It's the only thing I can't do. Did you know you were going to be on camera, buddy? Oh, we've had a few abuse cases that I like to forget about, So we do have abuse cases too. And that's the hardest part for me, was abuse.
In some cases, people get arrested for that, physically arrested. Cruelty to animals that's a serious violation of the state statute. It's a felony too. It's not a misdemeanor, it's a felony. So you can kick a dog and get arrested for a felony, but you can kick a cop and get a $50 fine for a misdemeanor. We haven't figured out why yet. People need to realize, though, they should probably Google the new state law, or the changes in the state law under Chapter 140, because the average person innocently could be in trouble for just leaving their dog out on their porch for a certain period of time during certain weather conditions. And it's pretty clear now in the new law, and I know you can Google it and it'll pop right up, any change they made, particularly with leaving your dog in a car, especially on a hot day with no ventilation, no food, no water.
But we take the animals in and do what we can for them. And the police, like I said, the police are great. If I'm not here and they pick up a dog, they think it's in trouble, I leave my door open. They know the cages are all here. They come in and put them in, and they call me and tell me they put a dog in. I leave it open all the time. If I have to go somewhere, a doctor's appointment, or I'm part-time, but I'm 24 hours a day. They know they can just come in and put them in. I always have a cage set up in case they have something.
Well, just that, people have to be patient. The animal control officer doesn't have any set hours. She's essentially on 24/7. She's on call, so it becomes a problem when somebody's calling and they want service right away, and the animal control officer may be tied up doing her own job. I mean, she has to work because it's not a full-time job. It's just a job that she goes out whenever she's needed, which in these days is much more often than when she started back in 1977. She might be at dinner, she could be at church, she could be at doctor's appointments or anything like that. So the response is not going to be immediate oftentimes. I mean, the police in those cases will go out to assess the situation if they're not tied up, so that there's some kind of response to the call, particularly if it's a wild animal and it seems to be aggressive. They'll go out on those calls every time. But an average animal control issue, maybe a barking dog or a dog running at large, if she's not available, then there's not going to be a quick response. And although, the ACO, as I said, she's been doing this since 1977, she's very good about it. I mean, I know several times I can tell you that she's called me, because oftentimes she'll call me, no matter what time of day or night it is, to let me know she's going on a call, and she'll be eating dinner and have to pick up and leave and go on the call. She just doesn't finish. She's good about that. She tries to respond no matter where she is. She called me one time from a restaurant near, and they were just getting served, and they had to ask for go containers, and her and her husband got in the car and went to the call. That's how it works. And that might have been great 40 odd years ago, but in today's world they need to have somebody that can respond, that's available, that's maybe more full-time, and that's where regionalizing will probably accomplish that and still save the taxpayers some money. So that's why we're looking at regionalizing.
24/7, part-time job. But it's always been that way, so I'm just used to that, My husband's very helpful. I mean, he helps me. He's just, thank God for him, because he doesn't mind. He's used to it. But it's been always that way. It's always been part-time. When I did Pepperell Townsend, I had help. I had an assistant, which was nice, paid assistant. But if I go anywhere now for Lunenburg, I have to pay somebody to stay here. So it comes out of our pocket. We don't go far, but I have my mother here. She's going to be 97. She's in the modular in the back. And she's healthy. She loves the animals, keeps her going. She comes out and feeds them, gives them biscuits. But I have her, so we don't go far. Because my dad died in '08, and she came with us. So we don't go far. My son lives across the street. So my grandchildren are there. One's in college, but one's in high school. And they have a couple horses, and one of my pony lives over there. In there. My show pony, she's over there. And they just gave me the Expedition. That was the fire chief's old car.
Oh, fantastic.
My cruiser's, I own the cruiser, but it's like one of those that it's not safe anymore. It's got a cracked frame. So chief just gave me that. I just outfitted it all, get it all ready to go. So I have a vehicle to use.
That's a lot nicer than the old car.
Yeah, my car's a mess, but it did served its purpose. And Wayne and I bought it from Pepperell when I retired. They asked me if I wanted the car, so I bought it very reasonable. Because I needed a car for the dogs, and I've always supplied basically the car in Lunenburg all these years. It's the first time that I've been issued a vehicle in all these years, so. It's a little big. I'm having, driving it's a little different, but I get used to it. We had one a couple of years ago. The lady didn't have a toilet, and the cats were all living in that. We just let them loose, and then we caught them, trapped them. The shelter helped me. Just people that couldn't help themselves, not on purpose, not anything like that. But so what I try to do in a situation like that is take the animals, because they love their animals, they're just having a problem, whatever, and try to keep them like that. That one came in and got a bath right away, and somebody called the other day and said he's using a litter box. I said, yeah, as long as he has a clean box, he's going to use it. That's a cat. He didn't have a choice where he was, But it's not their fault, and they love their animals. So I try to take them here and not charge them and keep them safe till they can have them back. And then I stress that people need to be checked on that have these kind of problems. You know, they need to be checked on frequently. So hopefully, you know, it'll be okay. Because the animals don't deserve to live like that either. And I know what it takes me in them. I've been cleaning since 9 o'clock, and it's every day. You know, if I didn't clean in there every day, you'd come in here and go, oh my God. People come in and say, it smells so good in here. Well, yeah, I use a lot of disinfectant and every day. You know, that rabbit, he's in for the winter. I pull that tray every morning and, you know, take the newspaper, roll it up, wash it with bleach and water, put fresh paper, fresh hay. And he's clean all the time because we do it. I only have help on Saturdays. I have my granddaughter and another little girl that's been with me for years. They work on Saturdays. And the animals get a lot of attention from them too. But during the week I'm basically by myself. Unless there's school vacation, something like that. But my grooming, I book what I can handle myself, and if I get a call, that's why it's the type of job you can do, I could do because I work here. And I can leave. I can put a dog under they're not hot dryers, they're air dryers. I can put a dog under the dryer and go if I have an emergency. So when they look for somebody, you know, when I'm finally done, they got to find somebody that's flexible. You can't have another job unless it's at home. And the position doesn't pay that well, so it's going to be difficult. So a lot of people have the passion, but they need the money too. My husband he's an electrician. He's been very good to me. You know, and I have my bulldogs. I raise my dogs. I have a litter every couple of years. And I've been lucky, you know, that I can do it. My horses, I mean, my feed bill. A couple of weeks ago, I put a bill in like once a year for feed, and it's usually around $1,000. So I was asked for receipts, and I sent them, and it was like almost $2,600 I had spent this fiscal year already. So I don't ask for anything that's not deserved. I'm at Pet Supply Plus all the time. You know, they need treats, they need pads, they need their food. You know, I don't have donations here very seldom, and that's okay. And money donations I don't take. I'll take blankets, food, if they have food, if it's a good food. Some people, their dogs die, and they'll call me and say, can I bring a bag of food over on their shore? You know, crates, sometimes they'll bring me a crate. Stuff like that I'll take that I can use. The fire department just gave me all those sheets because they were cleaning out. And I said, yeah, I'll take them because I can clean the closet and get rid of the holes because they chew everything. My own dogs are the same. But they all get fresh sheets every day. You know, I do 5 batches of laundry a day, just the dogs. You know? And my electric goes crazy because I have to heat the shop and keep them warm. And that was a porch that we made into the place for the dogs. So it's costly, but it's what we do. My husband says sometimes, you know, what do we do to ourselves from there? I don't know. But it's what we do.
And you do well. You do a good job.
I try. Sometimes I get criticized, but you know what? Walk in my shoes first before you criticize. And like I said, the police department's been a God bless. I didn't want to do it. And the chief said, you need to do this. And he was right. Because now everything's on record. And I'm amazed sometimes when I look and see how many calls we did, you know. And I'm not alone. If I go to a call that's serious, I turn around and they're there. I don't ask. They hear me on the radio, so they come. And I don't have to ask for help. They're always there. And they're all good with animals. They all love animals, which is wonderful.
Our time with the ACO is significant. I would guess that, and this is just a guess, but probably 75% of the calls police go on either with her or without her. Oftentimes the police will respond to an animal call and then call her to handle the call if it's something that requires a dog to be transported, or maybe they can't capture an aggressive dog, so they need some equipment that she has. Although more recently we have bought restraint poles and so on and so forth. But we don't have dog, we don't have any like pet carriers. She does carry those, so we have no, we don't have a proper way to transport them. And you know, you could say, well, you could throw them in the back seat of the police cars, but the police cars have plastic seats in the back. Not really good for transporting animals, and of course our goal is to make sure that the animal's safe and gets back to her kennel safely, so she can do that probably better than we can. So oftentimes we'll be calling her to come out and deal with a situation.
You know, the night with Jersey, they all showed up, they called rescue, they brought a jack to get her out from under the car, you know. And I have my vets help me. You know, I use Dr. Fallon and I use Dr. Sulin. They're very helpful with the stray dogs. They help me financially too. They do a lot of things for nothing so that we can keep them going, which is a big help. Dr. Fallon and his father was the same way. For all these years, they've helped me. After all these years, I've come to a realization that no matter what you do, there's always going to be somebody mad at you, because there's always a happy person on a complaint, and then there's a mad person. And I've had to grow wide shoulders for that, because I got to do my job. And like I said, people criticize if they want to follow me around for a day. You know, people like to criticize and they don't know what I'm doing. And the police chief knows what I'm doing. And like I said, it's been a big help, and I just thank him and the guys, because they make it so much easier for me. After all these years being alone, I don't have to worry, you know. And sometimes I get to a situation, it's not good. You know, people are angry, and people are threatening, and, you know, I don't get that. I don't have that anymore. Because if I think it's a bad situation, I call on my way, and if they hear something that they know something I don't know, they show up. So, it's good. So, it was a blessing in disguise for me to do this for my last, you know, I'm getting older. I'll retire when they find somebody that can do all this and keep the dogs safe and the cats and all the animals safe. I mean, I've had to truck animals to Tufts. The police have trucked animals to Tufts, you know, wild animals. So all these fish we raised, we had a blue herring problem for a while. And we had some beautiful koi they killed. One blue herring. And they didn't take them because they were too big, they just killed them. Broke my heart.
Yeah, the town has a bylaw that governs the ownership of dogs, primarily. It's posted on the website, so if the public wants to read the bylaw, they can either go to the town's website, or go to the animal control, or to the town's website and then click on animal control. The question is always, do we have a leash law? We don't. We have a dog restraint law. In some ways, you could say that a dog restraint law is more conservative even than a leash law. However, with a leash law, that means that when the dog goes out of the house, it has to be on a leash. With a restraint law, your dog cannot run at large. So you can't leave your dog outside unless it's either fenced in or there's an electric fence that keeps it on your property. So your dog basically can't leave your property. Because one of our biggest issues is dogs running in the street. That's a violation of the bylaw. Dogs running in other people's yards other than their own. That's probably accounts for a large percentage of our calls for service, those complaints. The dog, if the dog is taken by the ACO, she has the right under the bylaw to charge $25 a day to keep the dog until somebody comes and picks it up. To try to help people understand the bylaw, we created a pamphlet which the animal control officer often will hand out to people when she has to go and recover a dog that may be running at large. So we've been doing that for quite a while, but eventually we're going to have to start fining people for this, and obviously we don't want to do that, but it's the only way it seems that we're going to be able to control it, because as I said before, it does account for a huge percentage of her calls for service, just going, picking up dogs that are running in the street or picking up dogs running on other people's property. We're making some attempts to regionalize animal control. We're in the process right now of conducting a study based on some grant money we received from the state to build a regional animal control shelter. And then, of course, part of that would be regionalizing. And right now, we have the town of Townsend is very interested in regionalizing with the town of Lunenburg. Well, the state law has it's changed quite a bit in the last couple of years. One of the things you can't do is you can't leave your dog outside in certain types of weather for more than 15 minutes. You can't leave your dog in a car on a hot day. Now that becomes a serious crime. You know, the police can charge you for that. But those are calls like if the dog officer goes out or the animal control officer goes out on a call like that, she notifies the police immediately, because we're going to have to take, we may have to take some kind of criminal action on cases like that. Somebody leaves a dog abandoned, not fed, or abuses a dog, dog fighting, fighting dogs, those kinds of things. Those are chargeable under the state statute under Chapter 140. And those are cases where the police will take over and investigate it, and we're the ones who will apply for court complaints on cases like that on her behalf. The other thing that people ask questions about is kenneling. How many dogs can they have? They can't have more than 3 dogs, or else they have to have a kennel license. And you can't just get a kennel license. That's not something they'll issue to anybody. There's zoning issues involved in that. You can't just put a kennel in a residential area without some kind of authorization through zoning and planning and so forth. And for obvious reasons, you don't want your neighbor who's 30 feet away having 15 dogs barking all day long in a residential neighborhood. So obviously we're going to protect everybody. So if it's 3 or more dogs, they got to have a kennel license. Yeah, so if you find an animal at large running in the neighborhoods, it is important to call the ACO right away. Now, in the past, the answer you might get if you call the ACO, but this is old school thinking, things have changed since then, that she might have said to you, well, chances are that dog belongs in the neighborhood and it's going to find its way home, which is true. That's absolutely true. It probably is a neighborhood dog. It's probably not that far from home, and knows where its food is, so it'll find its way home. That's in most cases. But see, that thought process has changed now. We want you to call. We're going to respond to all of those cases, because there's a couple reasons why. One of the most obvious is we don't want them running in the street and getting hit by a car, so we have to protect them. But the other thing is, too, we don't want dogs running all over people's yards, and oftentimes they get into it with other people's dogs. So we'll respond out there, try to identify the dog. If it's got a tag on it, sometimes we can find the owner right away. But oftentimes she'll take the dog back to her kennel and kennel the dog until we identify the owner. In most cases, it's usually right away, or the owner's calling us wondering where their dog is. And that's another important point too. If you come home and your dog's missing, call the ACO right away. We may have the dog. There's one other thing I want to say about this and about just about any police matter, and these ACO matters are no different than the police. I got to encourage the public to call, report. That's an important thing today, and it's a really frustrating issue with us, because it's often that people feel that they're bothering the police, or they're bothering the ACO, or whatever. They're not bothering anybody. That's what we're here for. That's our job. That's what we do, and we will respond. But I can't emphasize that enough. And you see that now, particularly with this recent school shooting, the see something, say something campaign that's going on right now. Well, that's with anything. Any crime should be reported to police, no matter what. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. Same with the ACO calls. Call. Can't say it enough.
It's a 24-hour job. You don't know what's coming up. Abuse, all that stuff. We try to handle it here, but we do call if we need to the SPCA or Boston Humane. But people have to walk in my shoes before they criticize, because I just do my job, and the animals come first.